We're live.
Congratulations.
Woohoo!
And welcome to the Shed to House Live.
Okay, so we're trying something new. There's a duck, like right there.
Corner.
There's a duck right there. Can you see that? We're trying.
Of course, I can see it.
I thought it was kind of neat because it could be that there's like homesteaders and they like ducks.
Well,
don't you love ducks?
This way. So every week we get into our Shed to House Facebook group, which is like 80,000 people strong, and we talk through your questions that you submit throughout the week. And then we realize, why aren't we doing this on YouTube? Like, we built our whole YouTube around moving into the Shed to House and what it looked like to build it. We've got time lapses, videos up, and everything like that. And we're like, I feel like we're keeping it too small. So we're going to bring it to you this week in real life time, right here on our YouTube channel. And we hope that you enjoy the chat back and forth. I just finished replying to a bunch of DMs on Instagram. And I said,
Look what I did.
You're amazing.
Look what I did. That's so cool. Sorry. It's so awesome. Keep going. Instagram.
That's the best part, is we could make videos all day, but if we get to chat with you guys about your real questions, what you want to know about, like cost in Shed to House, and we're going to take the questions from our Facebook group here, and then if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. You can put them in all caps. I know some people just love that.
Ooh.
Unless you really don't want to yell. You don't have to do that in all caps. You can do it however you want, but we'll monitor the questions. We'll chat with you guys here. What do you want to know? Better Together Life.
This thing is rad.
I'm going to be,
I will try not to be a super nerd, but I'm totally nerding out that I can put your questions up on the screen.
You're going to have to try really
You
hard.
guys, we're going to get like better cameras. I went ahead and I didn't do the audio thing.
I feel like he's like 10 steps down the road.
I'm so excited.
Let's just come back to the one that we're on right now.
Okay. Oh, I just now saw.
Okay. So let's introduce ourselves, because maybe you're jumping on here for the first time. I'm Kelly and this is Bo. And about, 7 years ago, we started a YouTube channel with plans of moving out of the suburbs of Houston into what we had just purchased, was 7 acres of raw land in Central Texas. And then the last 4 years, we've lived here. We took a shed, we converted it into a house, and our family of 6 lives in like 800 plus square feet.
Yeah, 16 by 48.
And then we just built this one. We finally have finished out this one that we're in right now. This is our shed to studio, and it's a space where all of those small children don't get in and touch the computer and all the things that we've put into the studio, and we can bring you more free content right here on YouTube and on Instagram as well. So we want to answer your questions about Shed to House, about rainwater harvesting, family questions. How do we do this with a big family? We've got another one. I don't know if you can see this. Okay. So we've got another one on the way.
So close, you guys.
In like 4 weeks.
Whoa.
So we're stoked to be here with you guys, and we want to answer all your questions. Do you want to start with?
Yes. So we're coming over from Shed to House Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
So this live stream is sponsored by United Portable Buildings. United Portable Buildings sponsors our Facebook group. They are our only sponsor over there for a reason, because we have vetted so many different shed builders and companies. And so our main house, it was not United Portable Buildings. And the studio that you're in right now is a United Portable building. And it is just, it's
totally apples to oranges.
You can't even compare. Can't even compare. My parents just now stayed here, and I was telling them, I was like, we always want to be in that space, like this space. I think that one was our first pancake, but also just wasn't built as great as this one. Just the quality is awesome, but we love this building. So United Portable Buildings, I am going to put a link in the chat where you can
build your own.
Yes, let's see.
So this is the Shed to House converter, and we get to actually see whenever we get an alert, whenever you guys fill one of these out, and I think we probably get about 10 to 12 a day of these shed to house conversion links coming through. So you guys are getting to build this right there. It'll even print you or even total out a price for the like siding that you do and the shape of the house and the windows that you put on. And it's fun to just kind of like customize, build your little shed to house ideal building right there on your computer.
Yeah, we love it. It is awesome. It's totally free. Okay, let's jump right in. Is someone here? There's a child here. Okay, let's see. So put the questions in the chat, and we'll go back and forth with our Facebook questions as well as addressing you guys here. And let us know who you are and where you're watching from. We love that. Okay, so the first question over in the group was from Spencer. He said, "Hello, friends. Was just wondering if anyone ever put their home on top of a hill. Was just wondering how they did in the weather, even in tornadoes. I don't want to put something up there and then have high winds and end up in the holler." I highlighted this one because I liked there was a response in there. I don't know if we have to say a whole lot, but Penny kind of spelt it out. So a commenter said, so Penny said, tornadoes don't discriminate. They'll take out a brick house or a wooden house. Put your house on a hill and your faith in God.
Way to go, Penny.
I just thought that was kind of neat. So yes, we just kind of had a little bit of a scare of some tornadoes coming through Central Texas, and we were a little bit freaked out, a little bit scared. But not because we were in a shed house. No, because we're in a tornado. Like I think that's just the reality of it. We're in Central Texas. My folks live in Northern Texas, and a couple of my siblings. So tornadoes are not crazy new to us. I think that when people are really asking tornadoes, they're really asking, how do I stay safe in a tornado in a shed to house? And it's just like any other house. So we have an interior wall our interior room where we hang out. It's our bathroom, and we just put a mattress on top in the bathtub, just like normal. But there's a lot of questions that we get, hurricane straps and all these other things. If a tornado is coming through, it's coming through, and you really can't get out of the way of it, and you really can't ensure your safety without maybe a panic room or, a storm shelter. Which those can be underground. It could be built into your house. If you really wanted to build it onto your shed house, I guess you could do that. I think the average price that I got it that next day. And it was about $9,500, which it's not crazy. But that would be like a separate storm shelter from our house. A lot of people who live in like a tornado alley, they either have a dedicated storm shelter in their home, like built-in reinforced room, or they have like a storm cellar. And that's just up to you. You just have to decide where you live. I don't think living on a hill is going to be a big difference too. It'll be windy, but we've lived in houses in neighborhoods and they were windy too. So you really just kind of have to decide what you want out of your shed house. Yeah, we've had really high winds, and we don't have the best foundation for our home. I would have done it a little bit different now that I know. So, and we've never felt a wind. Like we have felt things on our porch, like get blown, but we've never actually felt like the walls and the windows go. No, it's just like it's been great. Okay, so Gritty 1670 says, "Can you do this in any city?" Short answer: no. Most inside city limits, like regulations, they're not going to let you do this. So what we always say is you want to be in a county that does not have building codes. So basically you have the county, you have like the county like this, and then you have the city like this. So you want to be inside the county, but outside of the city limits. pretty much every city is probably going to have some sort of building codes and everything like that.
We talk about this in an ebook.
Yeah.
Love it or leave it. This is not the pitch. But we talked about how we went from the city to the country, and it was really about our priorities and what wasn't negotiable to us. One of the things that was non-negotiable to us was finding unrestricted property, and that meant we could grow what we wanted, we could raise what we wanted, and we could live in whatever type of structure we wanted. And that was our top priority. It's not the same. Get off your tail. That's what the ebook is called, Get Off Your Tail and Homestead. So if you want to know more about that, you can get that, or you can get the free kind of like micro version called 50 Homestead Moneymakers. But that was what we wanted when we first began looking at property. Was we weren't even going to waste our time with something in the city. We wanted something nearest the city. We could get to a hospital or things like that, amenities that were easy, but the top priority was non-restricted property.
Absolutely. I mean, that was the main thing for me.
Because we knew also we wanted to build this type of building.
Exactly. Your number one thing was that you didn't want to be in debt. Yeah. You said you clearly said that you were removing me out of the amenities of suburbia with Costco and Whole Foods and your friends and everything, that you wanted to do this debt free.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I needed to have some sort of alternative living space for my family.
I didn't want to trade a mortgage for another mortgage. So
yeah,
we looked at how could we live that way. And this was the shed to house kind of inception.
So I like this one, especially because the Gray Marlin Homesteaders of Texas, they commented. Thank you so much for commenting on the post that I did here on YouTube. So I'm going to highlight you. Woohoo! They said, do y'all have Starlink? Do you know what Starlink is, my love?
Elon Musk.
Elon. He bought 9.2% of Twitter. I want a Cybertruck. I think I am all about
I feel like you went so far away from this question without even answering it.
So
do we have Starlink?
We currently do not have Starlink. We have a weird. This stream would probably be better. I don't know how it's coming across. Our kids are in the house watching a show, so we'll see how this is working. We don't have Starlink. We spent a lot of money to get not great internet. And then I looked at Starlink about a year ago, and it was not available in our area. I then looked at it about 3 weeks ago, and it is available in our area, except it's maxed out. So that means that we have to pay the full $500 to be on a wait list. And we supposedly are supposed to be getting fiber internet here down our county road. So I don't know. I don't have Starlink
options at this point, but when we first got here, there were no options, and there wasn't really any cell service here. So we went straight for kind of like a hopper kind of internet, where we have a tower, and then people down the way have a tower, and we're all just kind of connecting internet to one another, which can be a pain. And this would be any kind of country internet, but we refer to it lovingly as country internet because sometimes the wind comes and you just have no internet.
Yep.
So that's kind of how we run it out here.
Thank you, the Gray Marlin Homesteaders. That's so cool. We're from Colorado to
congratulations.
Okay, welcome. South Texas. What part of South Texas is South Texas? Just like give me a roundabout. I'm from Houston.
That's what people ask us, and I'm like, it's central.
I know. Sure, I know. I feel you. You don't have to put it on the interwebs. We're from Houston, so I grew up in Pasadena, so way south, and then we lived in Katy, which is more south. Okay, so let's hop on back over to the shed to house questions. Okay, so over there, Jenny asked, has anyone here bought the kits and done this spray foam insulation DIY? It doesn't look super complicated. My husband is very mechanically inclined, diesel mechanics, hydraulic repair, yada, yada, yada. Basically, he's really good at all things handy stuff. And what they're trying to do is they want to keep costs down and they want to DIY.
Take it away.
I've heard lots of people say that it's not hard to do your own spray foam insulation. So here's the thing. I hear both spectrums. Is that the right word? Both sides, ends of the spectrum. I hear, oh, it's not that hard. It's totally DIYable. And then all the way in the other one, I hear people say, you are poisoning your house by doing spray foam. And my thought is, I can guarantee that I'm not poisoning my house, that I'm getting the absolute best bang for your buck. Every single thing that there is, I am all for closed cell spray foam insulation in terms of sealing your house, not having to do ridge vents in your roof so you can have higher ceilings in your shed to house. Everything you can do with closed cell spray foam insulation, it keeps the critters out. Like it's awesome. Like it's such a good thing. And the reason why I know that I can get all those is because I hire a licensed contractor, and I know for a fact that it is installed correctly. I'm pretty sure that's what my wife would say.
I just think the chemistry is really specific. So if your husband is someone who regularly works with chemicals, I mean, I know people who mix together their cleaning chemicals in their toilet and are near bomb status. So I'm just not that great with the idea of us doing those chemicals in our walls and then the off-gassing over time. The way it's done with a pro is you're pretty much off-gassed within the week and you just leave your doors open. I mean, we're really well ventilated all the time, but I think it's a comfort level thing. There are definitely DIY kits, but there's also a lot of DIY that you can do in your shed to house that's not your spray foam. So if you're looking to save, we were not looking to save on electricians, on plumbing, or on spray foam. We look to save on everything else.
Exactly. Okay, so this kind of brings it. I'm
loving all the Texans on here. That's so great.
It is cool. Okay, so Denise says, wait, no, Dennis said. Dennis says, San Antonio resident here looking to move to a homestead. Wife isn't very interested. Is it possible to do most of it by myself?
Do you want your wife to go with you? I don't know, Dennis. Maybe you have plans like this is the way to end things.
We were just talking about this, y'all. Okay, this is gonna get a little scandalous. I was outside. I was outside in the outdoor shower, and Kelly, because we have an outdoor laundry room, Kelly just stopped up and she said, "Hey."
I whistled.
Yes, it was very flirtatious, and I dug it. And she said, "Isn't this cool?" And I said, "What, marriage?" And what did you say?
I said being married out here. I think the life we've built out here is just a totally different ballgame. There's a lot of things. And Bo was like, "Yeah, when you say it's not for everyone, I think you're crazy." I'm like, well, if we weren't in a healthy marriage before we got out here, then all the challenges you face as a couple, decision making, financial decisions, even just like the shape of your house, how things work. We are not marriage counselors, but we've been to enough marriage counseling to say those things will breed resentment. And then you're choosing your property and homesteading over your spouse. So you just decide, like, we can't make that choice for you. But I can tell you, homesteading is hard as a butt. And it's not something, especially if you're jumping into this and you're first generation farmers, like you're going to have to be really good with failing. And things are not, you can't keep everything up at the same level of priority. You have to decide together, hey, we've got to work on this next project. And so these other things that have been really important have to fall below the red line. And we can't do everything all the time. So for us, we've often said we can have a clean house, we can have happy family, we can eat dinner at home, and we can grow our business, but we can't do all four of those things at the same time. And so often in the city, it was like, oh, well, let's just go out to eat. That was easy. That's not easy here. So our house might not be clean. We've got kids who are a lot older now than when we first started this. And so many more helpers in our home, and they really value a peaceful space. So when we say, hey, it's time for a 15-minute cleanup, perk of a small house, our entire house gets cleaned in 15 minutes. So there are a lot of ways that you can adapt and create margins for new things and hard things to be learned on the homestead. But I will absolutely stand by my statement that this is not for everyone. I wish it was. But the truth is, we're all starting to undo a lot of our thought processes at different places. And so if you are getting your nails did and you have a really high turnover rate, having to go back over to the salon to get your hair done because you love this one style, if you never cook your meals at home, if you have never tried shopping at a farmer's market, or if you've never meal prepped and then stored it in the freezer, these things will be waiting for you on the homestead. And if your marriage is not ready for that, these things will be compounding little annoyances that turn into, I think, detrimental issues in your marriage.
So I just now put in the chat
Those
two
podcasts.
links to parts 1 and 2 of older podcasts that we did called "How to Convince Your Spouse to Homestead."
Now, on the other side,
because we had this.
Yeah, we did. On the other side, I will say this: if you're in a place where you guys can communicate well, things that I communicated to Bo was like, hey, bro, before we move to this 7 acres, because we already bought it, before we move to these 7 acres, you need to like be able to fix our garbage disposal. We need to be able to grow food in our 1/8 of an acre backyard and raise some rabbits before we go onto the homestead. So where he was really eager to just shut the door in Katie and move out to Central Texas, he was also able to say like, hey, you're giving me a challenge. We're going to prove it. I also didn't say like, if you do this, then we're going to move to the homestead. It was just, if we can't do this here, where Home Depot is 5 minutes down the road, we're going to have some real challenges when it's an hour and 15 minutes away.
So not to pitch the book, but just to talk about it slightly, is we're ramping up to try to get like things ready for this baby coming so that we can have work whenever.
Right.
Yeah, just different kinds of work instead of making YouTube, which is we need to do that. But we need to rewrite this book because the Get Off Your Tail and Homestead book was written probably 2 years before we even sold our house. So
but what were we doing
exactly
before we got to
it was written because I needed that catharsis of like to get it out of everything that I was doing to try to just grit my teeth and everything to get there. Now that we're here, I'm like I can see the other side of it where I can kind of tell a full story. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh my goodness.
You were talking about the homestead and shifting our work from YouTube onto other stuff. Yeah. I thought you were going to pitch the course.
No, I'm not pitching the course, but I can't believe we are going to make a course on it. Can't believe I just spaced on why I was talking about that. Darn it. Okay, let's keep on going and I'll think of it. Okay, so I love, dude, Gray Marlin, you're killing it, man, or girl. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Like, that's so cool. Like in 1 month, you just like moved from Colorado to Texas. I love it.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. Okay, I want to say hi to Karen. Karen from Wisconsin, always on YouTube watching. Thank you so much, Karen. Okay, so what city are you in? I'm in Texas.
Data is amazing.
Data, that's hilarious.
We like to just say Central Texas.
Yes, we're in Central Texas. I will not be saying. We're not
to Dallas and we're not to Houston.
Okay.
So just circle that whole big area.
Okay. Gossmania Homestead, how you doing? So they said that they have fiber. Okay, I want to say, hey, Rebel. Woohoo, what's up, Ray? Okay, so Ray is a big, Ray sells United Portable Buildings out in Mississippi. If you're in Mississippi, call Ray Hilmas. He's the man for a shed out there. He said, no code is best, but there are many counties with codes that are pretty lax. So always talk to Planning Commission before scratching a county off completely.
Yeah, and I think good things to ask are like, what's the minimal square footage in this area? What lots of times if you call your shed to house just a cabin, And that's what most people would refer to these as. My parents referred to this as a cabin for years and years and years. So it's okay to like just look further into this before you write out, oh, we're not in non-restricted. That was just our priority.
Yeah. Okay, so Jan said doing spray foam might not even be cheaper. I mean, that makes sense. I'm learning. We're learning that so much of like making that correct decision faster is going to be cheaper long term.
Here's a really good example of this. We are not tile people. We have never run tile in our houses before we moved here. We have since. But our friend who's a contractor said this really clearly. This is not a lesson for you. This is an example of what we're learning is worth our time. So we can mix the mortar and the water and the grout and the water and then the sealant, and we can pick our perfect tile. Or we can find a tile that's larger that will lay quicker, and we can buy the pre-mixed grout with the sealant in it. And we just turned a weekend-long job, and this is like actual real time, into a 4-hour job. For us, that was huge. Although it was more cost up front, we didn't take any of our time. And when you work for yourself, your time absolutely is your money. When we had the shed to studio built, right, second pancake, we hired our plumber and even talked to him ahead of time before the building came, so that we knew exactly how we were going to lay out our plumbing. And he was like, yep, I'm on board with it. Knew exactly what he wanted to do for this specific building, versus us trying to YouTube to research it, because again, time was money for us. And so we were able to vlog the process without having to be the person doing it. However, that's because we had none of these skills. I love the homesteader who's like, my grandma taught me how to can, and I've been crocheting and knitting for years, or sewing my own garments, or whatever that is. Bring those things and then shine in what you're a genius at. Don't waste your time trying to create other work for yourselves, because there's so much work to be done. If you're just naturally wired to do those homestead fix-it things, go for it. Absolutely. Don't let anyone discourage you not to do it. There are so many skills we have learned coming here. In fact, I just texted Bo a video for a vanity that I need to put in to our bathroom, because this baby is coming, like real coming. So I
had a little bit of a denial about a week ago. You better
be in acceptance at this point. So I just texted him, and it was because I knew that when we first were installing the first bathroom here, there was no chance Bo was going to do that. But now, like, we're absolutely capable of doing this. So just skills gained over the last couple of years.
Yep. I'm proud of you. You've done so much.
I'm pretty amazing.
I know. You milk a cow now.
I do.
Okay, let's see.
I know when pigs are going to birth babies.
You do. Oh my goodness.
Did not.
I don't know. I'll have to figure. I'm gonna figure this out a little bit more, and we'll do screenshots to show the piggies again. Oh, they're so cute. Okay. I'm gonna throw this one up. Here's an easy one. Angela asks, what are your biggest tips for living in a small space with multiple kids?
I think 2 tips. One is organization, and the other one is outdoor time. I have friends who live in RVs with their kids, many kids, more kids than us. I have friends who live in small homes with their kids, and the number one thing that we all do with our kids is we send them outside, we go outside and adventure with them. When we first got here, I got the Seek app on my phone, and we were just clicking pictures of all the Texas wildflowers. We're clicking pictures of, like, what's that animal poop? All those things, because our kids then were invested. They were aware and observant of what was happening on our property. And we just spent all our time outside. And now they're much larger, so they can go out on their own. They're building little, like, animal habitats. They're building people habitats. There was a couple days ago, one of the kids came in with a stick that forked, and we didn't have a net. So they got a piece of fabric and fashioned their own net and went down to the pond, and we're just skimming for like tadpole eggs and small shrimp and things like little
Like we got life in this water hole.
microorganisms in there. And then they'll come back, and this is because we were really intentional about giving them a love for the environment that they're in. And then organization is super important. So we homeschool, and we have 3 kids that are officially homeschooling, 1 who tags along, and just today we were doing letter sounds and phonics. And the littlest one, I said, this letter is going to make the F sound. And Finley, who's 4, was like, F. And no one taught her F. It just came. But the way we organize is bookshelves and then rolling carts. And everyone has their own kind of like
tray,
almost like a magazine rack
Mhm.
for the big 3. And then we just read a lot of books. We do a lot of audiobooks. Our organization is for sure the most centering thing. If something has a place to go, you're in great shape. If you don't have a place for something, try not to bring it into your house yet, because it will drive you absolutely bananas. The kids have very few clothes. We have loads and loads of play clothes. But as a rule, I like them to have like 7 shirts, 4 pairs of pants, 4 pairs of shorts, depending on the season. And then we switch those out, because I don't like laundry, and I don't like stuff, and I don't like managing other people's. So this is a way that we do it. And then everybody has a role. Like even when they're little, somebody has a job. So I would say organization, outdoor time, those are the best things you can do with small kids, multiple kids in a small space.
Excellent. CVA talking about, I don't know if this has to do with kids, multiple kids, or maybe it was just the challenge of what to do before you homestead.
Yeah, like advising folks who are still in the city.
Yeah. So to take
I agree completely.
Yeah. Take an urban homesteading challenge in your current place, get the green thumb while you can before you move to the sticks.
I think reading too, like just getting your hands on
or watching
YouTube. Well, this
your
is
favorite
honestly a
homesteaders
good
on YouTube.
pitch for Abundance Plus. If you guys aren't on there yet, get on Abundance Plus. I think you've got a link, but this is like your favorite homesteaders. This is what we did. Justin Rhodes was on Periscope when we first started. Raise your hand in the comments if you remember Periscope. But this is where you had no video. It was almost like a live podcast that you jump on and just listen. People could type in their questions and even jump on live, I think, with you on Periscope. This is how Bo first got this bug of homesteading. And usually this works this way with us, is he'll get an idea and then he'll learn everything he can until he's completely satisfied. Like, a kid eating dinner. I'm just going to eat and eat and eat until I can't eat anymore. And for Bo, that's what homesteading was 8 years ago.
It
was just, how much can I, oh, great. Hey, Morgan.
Thank you, Morgan.
But just like, how much can I dine on this idea of homesteading until I'm satisfied? And I would say we're still not satisfied. And Abundance Plus is really cool because it's all your favorite homesteaders you watch on YouTube, but it's like access to topics, access to just their exclusive content that they're putting only on Abundance Plus. Our podcast videos go on Abundance Plus, but we don't put them on YouTube. So there's like a lot there that I think helps you just feed that beast, that like desire to learn more right there. Morgan Shaw is a great person to follow. Instagram, YouTube, what's it called? I'm pregnant, so we have an excuse. TikTok. So,
Morgan?
Yeah. So
he's killing
in that
it. Yeah,
space
he's
where
awesome.
like it's just quick tips that you can start applying now. And I think that that's what this commenter was saying, is having those quick tips right now. Start some work. Grow tomatoes. I mean, that's, especially in Texas, such an easy crop to grow on your back porch, even on your apartment.
Yep. I love it. Okay. Keeping it cruising. Kendra asked, is it difficult to find someone to move a shed to house that is finished? Asking because I plan to move a house later on down the road and will need to move my shed to a different location or sell it. Thanks in advance.
Good question.
It is a very good question. My first thought is, because we kind of, the way that we have built our space, I think we did not think that we were going to like living here as much as what it appears that we.
I think you were worried about this. I had pulled out of the parking lot. I was not turning around. This was it.
You told me we are living in this house 2 to 3 years max.
In this house, in the shed to house.
And you also said that so many times you're like, you're going to get tired and you're going to get bored and want to do something different.
I did not say you're going to not live on the 7 acres.
Okay.
I said you're going, and you have done different things.
I know that's what I can do.
That's pigs.
That's what's so cool.
Cows.
I can change, like, for you, like,
we don't have rabbits anymore.
I know. Hey, we haven't even talked about the rabbits because it's sad. People do care about the rabbits. They talk about it all the time.
Not in the comments.
Who wants to know about the rabbits?
No one.
Okay. So you continue, because I forgot what I was saying again.
So you asked if there was someone who could move the shed to house finished. We actually.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Put your shed to house in a Airbnb location, if you can, in a guest house location first. The crazy thing is we put house number 1 and house number 2 in a location where we put house number 2 and house number 3 in the location where house number 1 should actually have gone.
If you're tracking anything he just said, you get gold stars. And he would say the same thing to me. He'd be like, baby, you're super pregnant. You should maybe let me take over. So what Bo's saying is, now we are in our shed to house. I wish it was a house that we built for 6 people and just add a 7th person without thinking about it. It's going to work for a while, but there's going to be a time where we need to build a larger home. We don't know what that home's going to look like. We're still figuring it out, because why not add one more decision into the mix?
I'm going to tell you guys, this is what is crazy. Kelly came to me. No, this is so personal, and she's going to get ticked off that I'm saying it to you. Good thing it's on a live stream, and I'm not. Yeah, it's not going to be like thousands of. Yeah. So basically, we were talking about babies and whether we should have babies or not have babies ever again. And I was like, I think I'm done. And she's like, no, we're not.
We're not.
And I was like, fine. Well, then we need to figure out this and this and this and this and this. And one of those is where are we going to live? Like, what's the next house? Like, let's figure out, are we going to expand this house? Are we going to attach a smaller shed? Like, are we going to just build other ones for the kids?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to build something big, like a ginormous house. I don't know. Probably not. But what are we going to do? And she goes, honey, I don't even know if I can get pregnant. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that if I get pregnant.
I don't see anything wrong with this thought process even now.
Like,
it works.
8 months goes by, and now she's starting to talk about it.
That said, I've already worked out down to square footage floor plans of potential options in the future.
This is
so what you asked was, can you move a shed to house? That one of the very first videos on the channel is from us going to like a lot, kind of like a large. They sell like the Carolina carports and shed to houses. I think there were Dirksen buildings at the time. And they were actually finishing them out on the lot. So we knew that you could move a house with drywall in it anywhere. Bo's suggestion is look for a spot on your property where it's easy to then relocate. It's not going to be your primary first choice for your main building. I think that's fine. Like, choose what you want to do. But with our current house, which is all 6 of us in this house, and the baby's going to be born in about a month, we're going to see how long that works out to stay in there with all 7 of us. But the plans are to build a larger space. And we've kind of weighed out a lot of different options of, do we just create secondary buildings that, all create this kind of like compound without being a cult, that kind of thing. Then, and we love that option, but we're just not landed on anything just yet. And so we have the potential to build a larger third building, and then we'd have to dismantle our porches because they're very large, 12 and 10-foot porches that run the length of our house, and then just have the house moved. Bo has very little faith that that's an option. I have very lot of faith that that's an option, because until someone tells me I can't do something and shows me why, then I always think that we can do something. So that's the very short answer is yes. You can absolutely find people who will move your shed to house. You just need to think, when you're putting it on the property, how doable will this be by the time you need to move it? Because you don't want to build permanent structures around it that you can't then navigate to get to the house, right? So, because it's kind of an ordeal to put it on the property. There's like a little robot mechanical thing that comes after they get it off of the big truck, and this twice now, and so it's certainly a thought for us before we add more buildings. What are we going to do with the buildings that we have right now? So
we're still
next question.
We'll let you guys know. Okay, here we go. This is all you, baby. No, that's not it. Hold on. Where'd it go? I saw it.
Okay, Daryl asks, how do you guys fund yourselves while living in the country? Great question. Actually, yes to all of your questions. This, along with what are you going to do when your kids are bigger, are probably the top 2 questions that we get on YouTube about, like, how do we do this? So,
Bitcoin.
We are not independently wealthy, but I will tell you that this started years and years and years ago. Was how do we
are independently motivated.
Absolutely. But how do we create multiple streams of income? And that is because we worked at a church. I worked at a church. And you think, this is like the most stable job ever. And then I got fired from a church for all like good reasons. There was turnover. I was still amazing, but there was turnover at the church. And so I lost my job at the church, and that was the first shakeup for us to really realize, hey, we need a lot of fires going, because we really didn't like a 9 to 5. We're still in the position where we don't like a 9 to 5. We like the flexibility to jazz up, like when we want to dig a pond. Okay, let's figure out how do we make another $10,000 this year, and then let's dig a pond with that extra 10K, right? So
hopefully it's not that much for a pond.
I hope not.
Maybe 5.
But yes, YouTube is a way to create extra income. But I would say more specifically, not just your YouTube AdSense, but what can you market through YouTube? What's something unique that you can bring to the table that you can market? And so that could be affiliate. That could be a product that you create yourself. That could be a product, a service maybe that you offer. Like a lot of people do online work independently, graphic designers or virtual assistants, where you can work from home for other people, but you're setting, again, your hours and things like that. My favorite way to do income outside of the 9 to 5 is residual income. So I love affiliate marketing. I think it's awesome, but if it's not going to work when I'm not working it, I don't love it. So the first really successful residual income that we did together was doTERRA. It's an essential oil business, and we just started using it with our family and then telling people about how it was working. And then I started teaching classes in people's houses, in our house. We started doing this online. In fact, now our entire business for doTERRA is built online with you guys and through Instagram. And this was something that we could educate people about how to use oils. They had us for contact, but they can continue what they need when they need it, and they don't have to come back through me. So I don't have to keep selling people. I can just keep informing them, keep them up to date, keep them educated as they desire. And that was our primary income. And so residual is not just I sell a product, I get paid. Residual is I sell a product, I get paid, and then those customers come back without me having to pursue them in a pushy way. Like I wanted to still be a decent human being. The AdSense from
but like
YouTube,
in terms of the affiliate stuff, because that's kind of like what doTERRA is.
Yeah,
it's and it's the same thing of what similar to United Portable Buildings is finding brands and products and brands that you absolutely love so much that even if you didn't, it's that great movie
Yeah.
that you
Or
just watched, a
restaurant.
restaurant, yeah, that you're just gonna tell everybody. And so for me, being the more weirdo business mind, I saw that in
Yeah.
Kelly. She was that person that would just tell everybody everything.
Yeah.
Like, I think, how about
I
this?
love these cloth diapers. You have to have these
Well,
diapers.
well, Kelly based. We had a chiropractor who just now, like, who started her own practice back in Katy, Texas, which is outside of Houston, where we used to live. She basically built her clientele the first 6 months. I mean, because like all of the people were Kelly's friends,
Well,
and they
she
all
was
found out
fantastic.
from Kelly. That's just like Kelly just tells everybody everything. So she started using oils, and I found out about it. I was like,
We need to make that a
you should
business.
make a little bit of money on it. And she was just, we fell in love with
So
her.
that became our primary income.
Correct.
And then when Bo was working at the church that fired me, that's how great it was. It was just it was good church. We loved it, honestly. He was working there and he just felt like, hey, I've gone as far as I can with this ministry and I feel like it's someone else's turn. But God, you've got to make a way for that to happen. And so we just started praying that stress would relieve. And then doTERRA was making enough income for him to come home and then be excited about building something new. Because I really feel like, especially whether it's doTERRA and like network marketing, or you're building something yourself, your side hustle, don't quit your day job yet. Like, don't go do that. I'm not telling you that. But your side hustle should not suck the life out of you. Everybody has had jobs in their life that they didn't like. And if you're looking to create a new income, it should not be a job that you hate. Like, start building a life that you love because it's what you're wired for. Don't work against yourself or against your strengths to do that. More recently, so doTERRA primary, and then we have YouTube kind of supplementing, and this is gaining some strength as well, but many years later. Some people can do that super quick. So don't feel like your story is our story or vice versa. Stocks is absolutely a regular residual, but like unpredictable income.
Well, I would say 2020, whenever, this is weird. Whenever the government started doing what they did, that was whenever I was like, okay, we're living a debt-free life. We were doing pretty good. We were able to make a little bit more money. And so that was whenever I started investing. I invested more into Bitcoin. That I don't make any money off of that. It's just the net value of that stuff goes up. So I don't like trade stock. So, but all the things. I mean, that, Daryl, that's it. It's like, how many different income streams can you have? And that is kind of how we like doing it.
I think especially because 2020 shifted a lot of people's income perspective. Like, oh, I could work from home. Well, I don't have to sit in an hour of traffic every day. What can I create just out of necessity? And I think that's really turned a lot of income ideas on its head, or gotten more people talking about this who would not be talking about it. I do not see it possible without multiple streams. So work your day job and then shift some of your what's that word, recreational time toward a side hustle, something that you love and that you're like, oh, even for a couple years we could bank on this, and then shift attention somewhere else. Go ahead.
Eric, he's saying that this is it's working. So yay, thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. That he's
we hear that.
Yeah, making some money, and that the job is killing you. I feel you. We definitely feel you. I love your profile. It looks like you're straight out of Yellowstone. Who all watches Yellowstone? I gotta ask that.
Oh, you're about to lose some followers.
Why? Is Yellowstone a bad one? 1883.
A lot of F words in it.
It's so many. I know, but it's kind of like homesteading. It's like ranching a little bit. Okay, let's get caught up here. So let's see. Where did Daryl first? Okay, there's Daryl. Okay.
Oh,
so
Adriana just ordered her UPB.
Where's that?
Way to go, Adriana.
Where's that?
Ordered her UPB building 2 weeks ago.
Woo-hoo!
That is so exciting. So you don't have very long until it gets to you.
Way to go, Adriana. Way to go. That is awesome. Definitely take some photos whenever you get it into the Shed to House group. We'd love to see it. Hope it works out for y'all. We have missed seeing y'all on here. Oh, okay. Elizabeth is saying we're very inconsistent. We're about to have a baby, and
We're also super honest about that.
I'm just inconsistent.
I know. I love when we have, many friends who YouTube as well, and it's just not. It's not something that we try to pretend that we're going to get something out every single week, because it's just not. It doesn't work for us.
It will.
So what we've done to shift, this is a good segue. What we've done to shift
schedule.
Moving.
Somewhere. It's in here somewhere.
He has a schedule folded up, tucked in under other things.
Never mind. This is a 1099.
He is lying
That's not the schedule.
So here's a little sneak preview. 2 things that we're doing differently in this next coming season for Better Together Life is, 1, we're creating a course based on the Get Off Your Tail and Homestead book. And so we're going to soft launch it in a couple of months, and we're going to have video content for it. And anybody who gets in on that soft launch, maybe lunch too. Maybe you
soft
eat your
lunch.
It's just puddings and potato salad. So whoever gets in on that soft launch is going to get a discount and a lot of access to us, because we want to make this course just really excellent. And then the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to start batching content now, because the baby is due in May. So we want to be able to be more consistent. And we know from having what was our Finley season? Was that like season 3 maybe?
Yeah.
We know that when we have a baby, actually, like, yay for the stocks and all the other things. But the reason we do this is because we really wanted to build a life that we loved. And that's like time. Like, we want time freedom to do what we want when we want. And that means when babies come, we just want to be in like Babyville. Like, we don't want to have to go anywhere else. So we want to create that content ahead of time, and then still leave our Instagram DMs and our emails open and spend our time there with you, instead of feeling like we've got to produce content. So we'll let you know when the baby comes, but we're also going to be able to continue to give you some great homestead content ahead of time.
It'll probably be more like simple talking, but very specific things that I think you guys are going to like. I think that you are going to want to be able to know this content, like talking about shed to house stuff, talking about pigs and cows, but more like old school YouTube, where people turned on the camera and they did it.
And they talk
like vlogging, because that's actually the whole Casey Neistat, Justin Rhodes. That's the new vlog. Like, vlogging, it was like a video vlog. Anyway, so we'll but I want to be able to get. It's all my fault. I
think it's great. Actually.
I will get it out. Okay.
I love a good pivot.
Yes. Okay. Also, I'm gonna say something different. Is this too soon?
No, that's too soon.
That's too soon? Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna.
Kelly says that's too soon. I can't tell you about that.
Well, we got to sit with a consultant a couple weeks ago, and there are just a lot of things for us to really get clear on moving forward. Is like, hey, we're gonna do this course, and we're gonna do a little bit of a different style for us to see if it's a better fit to record ahead of time a few things. And some of that looks like, what do we really want to be clear? So many of you are people who are like us 5 years ago, people like us who are like, gosh, I can't wait to get out of the city. But there are these hurdles in between us. And so we'd like to have those conversations with you and be really specific. Thanks, Sarah. I'm glad you're here. Be really specific about, how did we downsize? What did it look like to get on the homestead? What does it look like to live on the homestead? How is this different from city life? What do we wish we had known? What are, not just a bunch of like 5 things videos, but topical videos that really serve you better, because there are like 200,000 of you here. And we want to do that really, really well. And I think that we have the margin in our life now to be able to not get tempted to create videos that will just hit really hard, but videos that will create a community of people who talk and connect. I mean, There's so many ideas where I'm like, man, if we could get Texas homesteaders together, that would be amazing. Because as much as we love a homestead conference and Homesteaders of America, for Texans, that is hard to get out to. So we're not in the business of creating a conference at the moment, but we would love to create space where Texans can connect over the homestead and really, really find a conversation that helps them make that leap from the suburbs to the homestead.
I know we gotta get Texas on board.
I know.
We gotta get Texas.
Okay,
on board.
Morgan says it's a slow build to make the leap away from job income toward other streams. Morgan, you are one of my favorite people to follow about this conversation, because even in the Facebook world of trying to stay connected as homesteaders and YouTubers, Morgan is always sharing like, hey, I just hit this major milestone in my YouTube or in my social media marketing, and here's what I learned in that time. That's so critical. So for Morgan, everybody to see your high numbers, which can be like a real draw, right? There's so much work that goes into that and creativity, and you taking your strengths of marketing and conversation and storytelling and translating that into really accessible, bite-sized information for people is absolutely what keeps me coming back for more.
Morgan's like the best storyteller.
He's so fun.
Love your stuff, dude. You're awesome. I don't know if I have enough brain space to get us creative, but you're so so much work into that. I love it. It's so good. Okay. My wife and I start. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so Zachary said, my wife and I want to start a homestead. We live in New York, but with current economic situation, we don't know if we should leave
or stay. Do we have any advice? All right, here's what I will say about this. Anytime people ask
okay, after this one, I'll go back to this one.
I will say, anytime people
should
ask
I
me
stay
for
or
advice,
should I go now?
my first thing is, we are not qualified to give you advice. What we can share is,
if you stay, it will be
experience.
double.
All we can share is experience. And it's really easy to see people living a life you want and either feel like they're condescending or patronizing, or just like, oh, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's just not true. So you really need to get your ducks in order, and you need to decide, is this something we want to do? And if it is, then start those multiple income streams. Start downsizing your life now. You will never regret downsizing your I don't want to just say stuff, because I think that can be kind of crude, but downsizing the things that distract you from what you want. Downsizing is absolutely a mindset. We are not minimalists. We're not trying to have like nothing on our shelves and no memories out. What we're trying to do is say, what is a conscious decision of what we're taking into our life, in our minds, in our bodies, in our household, in our conversations with our kids, in our friendships? Are those things that we're able to give toward without sucking the life out of us? And are those things we're able to consume that don't distract us from our purpose? And so our purpose is to raise kids in this space to create independent, critical thinkers who love community and see their strengths and roles in that. So that's our purpose, is around our family. That might not be your purpose. So you need to ask that before you step into, should I stay or should I go? Because maybe you can do that there. Maybe you're called to do that right where you are. And if you don't start where you are, there's no way you're going to like feel the blessing or the freedom to do that somewhere else. All the baggage you had where you were first is just going to follow you. So unpack the baggage now. Let that transformation start where you are right now. Like Morgan said, it took him 4 years to do exactly what he's doing right where he is now before he was ready to say goodbye to his job. And I think that there's a lot of heart preparation that happens in that time when you're willing to let go. Go ahead.
Well, Simply Jane Homestead said that you were absolutely correct. And hey, Jane, so glad that you're here. Jan, I'm horrible.
He has dyslexia.
I am dyslexic.
So I always blame that when we do a live show.
I am. I'm dyslexic. I'm sorry, Jane. Okay, said that you're absolutely correct that community is it,
Yeah.
and then we all learn from each other.
Yeah, I think one of the topics that we'll discuss in our course is about sustainability. Everybody wants to live this like self-sustainable lifestyle, and I will tell you, it's a recipe for like destruction, not just disaster, but like if you want to destroy yourself pretty quick, go all by yourself.
I don't know how to answer that as a Texan about New York. So
No.
the only thing I will just say is Texas didn't, it looked so much, I don't know. I never went anywhere during 2020. I only saw it on the news. I'm sure it was not what the news would show.
I think we're unqualified to comment on where in New York. And so what I would do is get into groups, connect with a CSA, connect with local farmers, go to farmers markets, find people doing what you want to do where you are, and then decide if you need to leave it. I love Texas. I think Florida is another great place. Tennessee is popping with a bunch of people who are taking this sort of like freedom lifestyle into their own hands and doing something different. So I'm always going to root for Texas.
How about this?
Justin Rhodes actually asked me when we were up there, one of my last trips up there, and he was like, "Why are you guys still in Texas?" And I was like, "Because I'm a Texan." Like, there's just no other way.
Not everybody can move to North Carolina or want to move to North Carolina, Justin.
We're not all haulers, but we can say, I mean, absolutely, it's tempting.
Well, let me say this. Hold on. I got to say this. So whenever they say, whenever Justin asks you, why are you still?
It wasn't rude.
I know,
It was
I
just
know,
a
it's good,
question.
it's good. But when him asks you, why are y'all still in Texas? Because he knows he's saying like, why don't you move to North Carolina and join the North Carolina crew? Which is we're so grateful that we're a very teeny tiny small part of like the friendship.
Pen pal, long distance cousins.
But here's the thing: two of the people that they're talking about that moved to North Carolina, they moved from a state that this is only numbers, and the numbers for U-Haul rentals.
Oh yeah.
In order to have in order to take a U-Haul rental from California to Texas is like 4 times the price as it is to take a U-Haul from Texas to California, because they know that if a U-Haul trailer truck goes from Texas to California, Texas knows they're going to get the U-Haul trailer back, the U-Haul truck back. If it goes from California to Texas, it's not coming back. So that's all I'm saying in terms of there are some of these factual things and numbers about stuff. It's just all about U-Haul.
But I'll say this. We don't know New York, and we don't know all the details outside of the city. Like,
I have no idea.
I think the news coverage,
I have no clue.
The news coverage is going to come from the hottest, most controversial space, right? Same thing with Austin. I mean, we're not all voting to like defund our police, right? But like in Texas, we do have. In Texas, we do.
There's a baby.
Like Austin's a big hitting city that's going to see a lot of news coverage. So you're going to know your state, but start being informed about where you go, because I don't think everybody should move out of their states. We are experiencing that in Texas right now, like little nervous about the next elections, and I will not get political here because I think it is a waste of time. But I'm very conscious about these elections coming up, because we have a lot of new people here, and a lot of new people who have brought their beliefs and mindsets, informed or otherwise, to Texas that have a lot of potential to change some things here.
I love this. Okay, so we're going from William.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
William saying, I'm in New York and I'm going for it. Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Luis says, came here to Texas from Orange County, New York. One of the best things for my family. So,
yeah,
I love them both. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
that's so good. Okay, I'm gonna scroll the questions. Typically, what we do, I know this is the first time that we've done one of these shed to house. I love that it went off of shed to house. I think that's what it's so.
Onto homesteading.
Well, how about so? Whenever I did the whole logo thing about the shed to house, I didn't want it only to be about tiny houses. Like for me, shed to house was never what I call the destination. So meaning we did not dream about living in a small house. We didn't dream about living in a converted shed or a tiny house on wheels or anything like that. The dream, the destination was always homesteading. It was always the country life. It was always the slow paced life. And so that's where the logo of shed to house came from. It came from small house, big land living. That's what I wanted. I wanted the space for our kids to run wild and free and climbing trees and chasing chickens. And so I'm glad that it kind of, we're probably going to do this more often on YouTube. There's just, the engagement is rocking. We're loving it. Okay. I'm going to scroll through the last of the chat because I just now realized it's getting dark and I have to go get the cows. They're in the back pasture and I'm sorry. I forgot. Okay. So do you see anything? Okay. No, I travels. Okay. All of these are all very important. I'm just trying to look for questions. Okay. Lots. Okay. So Morgan's saying there's lots of great. So our friends, farm. What are the homestead? They're NY. What is?
Oh, are you talking about Jen?
Jen. Yes, Sunshine Farm. That's what it is. Yeah, Jen. Sorry, Morgan and
Jen and Chris.
Yes, Jen and Chris. We actually roomed with them in an Airbnb. Yeah. They like have a beautiful homestead up in upstate New York. So it's totally awesome. I love it.
And they're moving to California. Well, they're looking to move to California.
So Morgan almost bought land in New York. So yes, so it's totally great.
I really do think like there's not just one state, especially if you have a strong local government. That's really more important. And that's one of the things we're talking about when choosing properties is you need to look at that local government. People will be like, hey, can you tell us your realtor? And I'm like, well, sure, if you want to live in our area, but that might not be your jam. So you need to find somebody who knows your area, who can help you even say, yeah, you actually want a property that's already an established farm. Let's go check out these 4 or 5 places because you're going to find people who want those properties to be preserved. They want that hands-off government to be preserved. And that's not just a statewide thing. Like these things can be very specific and local. And so don't be chased off of your state just because it has a reputation somewhere else when you're going to know the best about your state.
Last thing I'll say about Texas, it's not the best growing state. So like I'll like in terms of where Morgan is in New York, like any kind of Northeast, I mean, like that's, if you want to grow if you want to grow an amazing garden, Texas it's tough. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit.
Texas is really, really broad. So you can have like almost subtropical in Houston. You can have really dry and arid out west. You can have just a lot of mixed variety climate in the middle. So it's pretty different. We have no meetups planned, Luis.
Especially baby's coming.
Maybe
I'm not even going to say maybe, like promises.
I think maybe in the fall, but not in South Texas. It would be much more central.
Yeah, but not too far. Okay, let's see. I'm clicking everybody. I want everybody to get some love. It's a short but intense growing season here. Yes.
Short but intense. Yes, I love that.
I know, buddy. That's awesome. Okay, y'all. This is okay. Hold on. What did Daryl? You said, do you guys have a network with other homesteaders? And no, I don't. I would check in with Abundance Plus. I think he's trying to figure that out to have a full Abundance Plus network going. I think Justin's even talked about having an Abundance Plus dating app, like straight up, like what is it? Farmers
only,
homesteaders, Abundance Plus only. I don't know. I don't put it past him. He probably will do it. So I do not have anything. Okay, guys, this is awesome. This is so great.
Thank you for these questions
Yes.
and for sharing your time here. Like, you guys could be anywhere right now, and it's pretty amazing to get to like chat with you from other states. And some of you who are doing this, some of you who are just watching the comments. This is what we're talking about. Even if you're not doing this as a life, like watching the comments, tuning in, starting to surround yourself with the voices of people who are doing what you're doing, who aren't going to blow smoke up your skirt and be like, you can do it, because maybe you can't. But we are going to say, like, there's a really good chance you can, and you can do this in a way that works for you without feeling overwhelming, but creating a plan that is absolutely a realistic goal, because that's the part of us that's like, there's nothing special about us other than we didn't let that vision go out from in front of us. And then we found ways to create, like Daryl was asking, create those incomes. And then we found ways to work our kids into this lifestyle that we wanted to revolve around, raising them in a totally different environment that we had. So you'll find your why, and then just don't let people shake you off.
Love it. Okay. You guys are awesome. I don't know what's going to happen when I hit this button because it's the first time I ever used this app. So
don't pick your nose.
Yes. We'll see y'all on the next one. I'm 99.9% sure we're doing it back here on YouTube.
You have got to go get those cows.
Goodbye, y'all.